Hi, George here, and today I'll be showing you how to do cinematic color grading, where we're going to be shifting the colors in our image in a specific direction to give it more of a cinematic look. We'll be using Photoshop Elements and also the Elements Plus plugin. Now, one of the shortcomings of Photoshop Elements is it doesn't have very good color controls. If we go up here to Enhance, come down to Adjust Color, there are a lot of things showing in here. Removing a color cast, that's fine. Remove color, replace color, those are all okay, but we only have two in here that look like they would do actual color adjustments. The skin tone is just for skin tone, so it's kind of a specific choice. So we have Adjust Hue and Saturation, and in here we can choose different color areas here, such as the cyans. But once we have that done, there's not a whole lot of control here. I can make it more or less saturated, like that. You see it just gets more bright in there. And the lightness really just makes it darker or lighter, but doesn't do any adjustment on the color itself. You can kind of get a good cinematic look here by pushing the hue up just a little bit on the cyans, going to blues, pushing the blues up just a little bit, and then coming in here to the reds and adjusting your reds a little bit. So you can kind of tweak things, but it's not very satisfactory. Go up here to Enhance, come down to Adjust Color, and you would think that Adjust Color Curves would do everything that you want. It sounds like it would, but in reality, this isn't a color adjustment. It's a value or lightness adjustment. Notice in here are highlights, brightness, contrast, and shadows. There's nothing about color over in here. Left-hand side, backlight, darken highlights, increase contrast, increase midtones. All of these are value adjustments. They're not color adjustments. So I have no idea why this thing is called Adjust Color Curves, and I have no idea why it is sitting up here inside the color section. That should be over here in the lighting section. It's really a lighting control and not a color control. We have other options up here under File and Open in Camera Raw. And bring up my same image right here. There we go. And under Basic, you can adjust the temperature and tint, but I can't adjust this for specific color ranges. I can do the whole picture, but again, not specific color ranges. So it's a little bit limited on what you can do in here. So what we need is an ability to adjust the color values in specific color ranges in a very controlled manner. And for that, let's go back up here to our original image. We'll be using the Elements Plus plugin, which has just the tool that you want for this. Now, the Elements Plus plugin is a great tool that allows you to add in or reactivate a lot of controls that are available in Photoshop and bring them here into Photoshop Elements. Some of the controls have maybe an older style to them, but they still work great. And I have mine installed here. Let's go over to Effects, and it's up here. If you have a newer version of Photoshop Elements, you're going to be seeing Artistic, Classic, and Color Match. And this is in the Classic section. If you have an older version of Photoshop Elements, you'll see these options right down here in the list. So we're doing the color section right now. If you have my HCG Photo Coach program for Photoshop Elements, I have articles in there about how to use all of these different options here inside of the color section of Elements Plus. So all this stuff is available over there. We'll be coming down here to this one. This is Selective Color, and this is the one that you want. Choose OK, and here we go. We now have color adjustment sliders for cyan, magenta, yellow. The opposite of this is the opposite of our color here. Cyan opposite is red, so you get more red or more cyan. Magenta is green, so you get more green or more magenta, so back and forth like that. Yellow is blue is the opposite. And you can control your blacks in here. So we have very careful control for each one of our different color ranges in here. Okay, now that we have this, let's start off the color grading by going into the colors and come down to neutrals. And a standard cinematic look is to increase the blueness of the whole image, make it a bit more cyan or a bit more blue, and then bring back your flesh tones and your warm tones. So that's how I'll be approaching this. Start off with your neutrals, come down to the cyan, and let's boost the cyan. If I go real high, you can see how it's making everything really cyan in there. I'm going to boost this up here, so it's about maybe 20. The actual amount here will depend upon your picture. And if you have more blues and neutral tones in your picture, more gray tones, this would be more obvious. If everything is kind of flesh colored, it's not going to work out very well. I chose this image because this background has a lot of blue in it already, which makes it easier. Most of your cityscapes have a lot of blue and grays in them, so it's great for cityscape imagery. So a little bit up on our cyan here. We can bring the yellows down a little bit. That brings in more blues. Of course, when you adjust one, you're seeing more of other stuff as well. So if I put this down here, we're also seeing more magenta showing up because it's balancing in that direction. If we have less yellow, it looks like we have more magenta. That's why you're getting some pink in there. So bring this down just a little bit, not much. So that takes care of the overall tone of the image. Let's now go up here and look at our reds. Most of your flesh tones are in the reds and a little bit in the yellows. So I want to take care of our reds. And with the reds, I want to remove the cyan from the reds. We added it in for the whole picture. We're now taking it back out of just the reds. Let's back it off here. And I'll bring in a little bit more yellow as well. There we go. Choose OK. And let's see how this did for us. Go over to layers. And notice that this comes in as a new layer. But to show that, here's our colorized version, our cinematic color grading version. And here it is with the original version. Notice how much warmer the background is here. And it's a lot cooler. It gives us that nice kind of cool look that's so popular in cinema nowadays. Again, to do this, it does require having the Elements Plus plugin. Let's go back up here, bring that back up again, and there it is. Now you can't go back and readjust these settings in here. If I did something else on this one, let's just do that. Choose OK, back to layers. Notice that comes in as a second layer in here. So you're not able to go back and re-edit one of those layers. That's the only downside on this particular tool. Over inside of Adobe's Photoshop program, we could bring the selective color back up again and make more adjustments in here. Inside of Elements, you can't do that. Notice that this is locked out from editing. It's a non-editable adjustment. If you're not happy with it, simply delete this and start over again and get back to where you want to be. And again, if you want to learn a lot more about how to use Elements Plus and specifically the color and tone section right here, I have articles for each one of these options in the HTG Photo Coach program, and I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and give this video a like. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of these videos as they go up, and I'll see you next time.